Today, we're going to look at the Facebook Portal Plus. We're going to be exploring whether it's a useful buy for team and personal productivity as you go across your workday, and everything you need to know about the design, camera, software, and all elements of this experience. So a few months ago, I was browsing the internet and saw a lot of the Facebook portals were going for about £40, which is very low here in the UK. And I looked at the Facebook Portal Plus, which is something that has evolved into what they're calling the Meta Portal Plus, and they're pushing it towards a more work-driven market. Essentially, they want people working from home to use this as their primary camera for managing calls like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, and much more. I was actually quite excited when I first saw the advert on television. It looked like quite a fun, interactive tool that sort of separated you from your laptop. But after a while of using it, I was left very unimpressed. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Francesco. This is Keep Productive. We would love to have you as a subscriber, so make sure if you enjoy this review to hit like and subscribe today. Okay, let's start with design. Design is obviously something that looks fairly good on this Meta Portal. It's a really thin looking iPad-like screen attached to a speaker set here. And to be honest, at first glance, it looks like a fairly impressive high-end tool. And there is this lovely little sort of switch with the camera, allowing you to block the camera if you wish. Now, in terms of the overall feel and design, there are some lovely buttons at the back which help you to quickly navigate, but until you actually learn them, it's quite difficult to do without actually seeing what they do. So in terms of the actual cables, you can see at the back here that it comes in this plug and goes into your power unit, and it's plugged in all the time. And the unit itself is actually reasonably big. It's not as big as, say, a laptop screen, but it's somewhere between it being as big as an iPad mini and a full-size 16-inch laptop screen. Okay, so let's skip to the camera section. I feel like this is probably one of the most fundamental experiences inside of the Meta Portal Plus. The camera itself says that it's secure, and this only is secure through this little flick on that comes on top of the screen. And to be honest, it's one of those things that it's used as more of a marketing tactic than actually seemingly more secure and protected through your internet. This is something that will rely on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and WebEx if you're using that to be able to provide the level of security. So the tracking abilities are something that makes this Meta Portal different from other applications like your regular webcam and maybe even the Google Nest Hub. It tracks your face across the room, and say you went over to get something, or you're leaning into a meeting during a difficult conversation or something that you're collaborating on, it'll sort of track your face and make sure that's emphasized during the period of time. It's also got some noise cancelling abilities and also a speaker set which does a fairly good job at projecting sound. Now, I did a video recording of myself, and sometimes the camera tracking worked and sometimes it didn't. It depends on what app you actually choose. And also, the sound wasn't as good on the other end. I called my wife on it and she said it didn't sound as crisp as normal. But in general, the quality of the camera is not too bad. It does slightly better than what you would expect from a web camera, creating this lighter, more relaxed approach, but it doesn't do anything outstanding like a 4K camera does, and especially what you'd expect for the price point. So skip to the software side of stuff. This is probably my favorite section, and this is primarily a webcam based application. So you can connect with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Cisco, and it has a whole bunch of applications, including a marketplace in which you can download apps from. So you can also get apps like Spotify and all of your regular Facebook apps, as you can imagine. Now, in terms of Zoom, it works very much like the web and the online desktop version. It's very easy to use, and sharing stuff is fairly fast. The only thing I found difficult was that disconnection between my laptop and the actual recording device. So for example, just setting up calls was quite difficult because unless I had copied that and pasted it, I had to go over here and sign into the meeting, unless I was signed into something like Microsoft Teams. They have a calendar application which is really nice. I would actually say this is one of the things that tempted me to buying one of these and checking it out. The calendar application is really nice looking. It feels very much like an app that we all know on the market called Motion. You can check out a review of Motion here. So in terms of the entertainment aspects, there is Spotify on here, which works fairly well, and the speaker does a good job. You also have something called Storytime on here, which is a more virtual experience to telling a story, like Little Red Riding Hood. I did this with my son to test out the features, and he really liked the immersive experience of it and actually kept him fairly engaged for about 5 minutes at least. There's also Hey Portal, which is basically their sound recognition technology, a little like Siri. And essentially you can activate this and get the weather and all other things you'd expect on a voice commands, and it actually works fairly well. Now, underlying problem with the software in general is the speed and functionality. I don't know whether it's an Android tablet on here, but the speed of it is slow. It's really slow for the price you pay. It's not a premium tablet that is placed on top of here. Yes, it looks like a premium tablet. It's well designed, maybe a little bit thinner than an actual iPad, but collectively the speed of this isn't great. And you'll notice this when loading applications or even doing more than 2 applications in quick succession. One thing I did like to finish on a good note was the unsplash images you get when you actually have this device off. When you walk in and the device has been switched off for a while, it shows the time in a really nice sort of view, and it sort of knows when you walk in a room. I think it has some sort of motion detection. I don't know whether that's through the camera, but it seemed to work when the camera was off as well. And a small little ability is if you tap this button at the top, it will turn off your camera and give a red signal on your camera to notify that everything is off. So let's look at my general opinion of using the Meta Portal Plus for a couple of weeks now. I'm largely unimpressed by this experience. Facebook have created what is a very basic experience for a more premium pricing. In the UK at least, £350 to buy one of these. I think it's probably something your work would purchase for you, but to be honest, for getting an experience that is separate from your thing, but still as messy as your laptop, it doesn't feel like a worthwhile investment unless you got it free work, to be honest. I really like the face tracking abilities. The ability to get accessing software like Zoom and Microsoft Teams was pretty awesome. The calendar function was good, but everything was largely diluted because of the speed of the software. This just feels like a poorly structured iPad attached to a speaker set. And I described it as almost like an IKEA impulse purchase when you're sort of looking at those speaker sets. And for the price, it's pretty crazy that this isn't any better. Now, what's weird is there's not any really large direct competitors. They're targeting this towards the workplace. So this is really one of the first of its kind in terms of a work-focused tool. But I've been left feeling unimpressed with the experience and something I wouldn't necessarily recommend here on the channel, as in a second or third version of this Portal Plus. It's got a long way to go, let's just say that. So I'm gonna give the Facebook Portal Plus a C+ rating. So thank you very much, folks. I hope you enjoyed today's feature. Please do subscribe if you're brand new, and if you found this useful and you think it will be useful for somebody else, please do like it or share it if you found some value. Thank you very much, folks, and I look forward to seeing you in a future review.